Is it just me, or is AEW really bad at promoting their content? What's up, everybody? Eric here from That's Wrestling. Thanks for tuning in to today's Newswire. We'll be covering shoulder content on this episode, plus one thing from New Japan. So let's get straight to the New Japan news. The first challenge has been thrown out for the King of Pro Wrestling tournament, title, championship, whatever you want to call it. Kazuchika Okada has called out Yujiro Takahashi. Their feud continues on. I don't know why. But anyways, he has called out Takahashi and has challenged him to a 3-on-1 match with Okada having the disadvantage. So I'm not sure that this was going to be the intention for putting a stipulation. That sounds like a stipulation that would be out of bounds, a 3-on-1 match. But since he's giving the disadvantage to himself, I guess that can fly? Oh well. Anyways, the tournament technically starts on the 26th, and there will be four singles matches leading up to the show in Jingu, which is on the 29th. The winners of all four of those matches will then have a four-way match at Jingu, crowning the first King of Pro Wrestling champion. They're still really bad at naming this thing or what it's actually going to be. Anyways, how this is going to work throughout the rest of the year, there will be singles matches and each competitor will propose a stipulation for that match. It'll be voted on by the fans. Whoever's holding the title at the end of the year gets crowned the King of Pro Wrestling, and then they start all over next year. So it's going to be very strange to see all these types of matches in New Japan, since they do not do these types of things very often. You will rarely see even a triple threat match, maybe once a year, which you never see things like ladder matches or cage matches or anything like that these days in New Japan. So should be interesting to see how this plays out for the rest of the year. Next up, we have the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament has started. They're really bad at promoting this because the only reason I knew it was on a YouTube as an exclusive was from other news sources and not from AEW. That's a problem, and they should probably rectify it. And I don't think they even mentioned the tournament this week on Dynamite as being on YouTube. So that's a fail. That's a huge fail for AEW there. Anyways, the first two matches were Brandy Rhodes and Ali. They, for whatever reason of the quote-unquote luck of the draw, ended up being a tag team together, as they have been tagging for a little while now. Faced Penelope Ford and Mel. This match was perfectly fine. Nothing really stood out. I really hope this doesn't become a vehicle for Brandy Rhodes, but it looks like it's going to. And they picked up the win. Brandy Rhodes and Ali did. And then next up we had Anna Jay and Tay Conte versus Nyla Rose and Ariana. Is that how you say it? Ariane, Andrew. And this match was actually pretty good. I was a big fan of what Conte was doing, and they really just worked over Nyla's leg over and over and over and over again until they finally got the win over them. So Anna Jay and Tay Conte move along, where Nyla Rose and Ariane Andrew has been eliminated. Afterwards, backstage, there was a quick promo with Brandy and Ali. Brandy took this one over and was really, really obnoxious. And it looks like she's going back to being a heel persona of some kind. This is just not going to work. This never works. And I hope they abandon this at some point. Next up, there was AEW Dark. Scorpio Sky had a match, and afterwards he grabbed a chair, cut a promo, talking about how the chair was symbolic of a throne, that he's been called the King of Dark, and he wants everybody to know that this is not the ceiling for him, and that there is only 2 people who have ever pinned Jericho in AEW, and that is Jon Moxley and himself. So he's hoping that he will move up and be put onto Dynamite, and that he's looking for greener pastures, which we then find out on Dynamite that he will be challenging Cody to the TNT Championship next week. So that's him moving off of Dark. We also had the Initiative, Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon versus Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. They continue their losing ways, the Initiative that is, even with Leva Bates hitting a sliced bread, I believe, on Joey on the outside, interfering, and they still couldn't pull out the victory there. And then we had a returning QT Marshall facing off against Jack Evans. The match was fine. Really, the most thing I was concerned about was, are they going to push the Ali storyline ahead? She basically messed up and pulled the ref, which caused the distraction to allow Angelico to get involved and take out QT Marshall. So that finished off that match. So really, it's just Ali screwing up here. This storyline needs to get paid off soon. This has just been dragging on too long at this point. Obviously, QT was out because of COVID for a while, but this just needs to be pushed along. And then we had Being the Elite. There's just a couple segments to talk about. One, the Dark Order. They have been trying to recruit various people, and then Griff Garrison was in their kind of bar seating area last week, and they kicked him out. And then they find him once again in the bar area when they all come in, and they kick him out. But it was actually the real Jungle Boy. And then Brody Lee freaks out about the whole thing, about John Silver just screwing everything up. Still the highlight of the weeks are the Dark Order segments. And then there was also some backstage with FTR, Hangman Page, Omega, and the Bucks. And it looks to be like they're on good terms now, as FTR thought ahead and had some chocolate milk set aside for Omega and the Bucks. And they all drank together and seemed to be merry. So wondering where this is going to go in the end, because currently it seems that the tension has subsided for now. So you'll see how that plays out in the future. So that's all I have for today's Newswire. A rundown of AEW Dynamite will be coming up in a little bit as well. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you next time on That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.